everyone, welcome to the Here and Now. It's me, Jill, from the House of 10 Sinks, and we're doing something a little bit different today. There is a YouTuber that I watch. I absolutely adore her. Her name, username is ThriftThick. Her real name is Cassie. I've watched her for probably 3 years now, maybe 4. She does a lot of like clothing unboxing, clothing try on, thrift hauls, makeup tutorials, makeup testing. She's kind of like, when I think of how I would want my YouTube career to like go, she's kind of who I think of in my mind. So all this is not critique. It is not criticizing her. I absolutely love her. So Cassie, if you're watching this is all with love, and I promise it's not mean. I'm not a mean person. So she did a video yesterday called Where Have All the Men Gone? And basically it's about dating in, she says 2018, but honestly, it's been bad for several years now. So I just kind of wanted to come on here and I wanted to talk hopefully directly to Cassie. I hope she watches this. Even if she doesn't, maybe it'll help other people who are maybe kind of going through the same thing. Now, I am by no means an expert, but I will say that 3 years ago, I was also single. I'm not now. Luck of the draw on that one, but 3 years ago, I was also single. Signal. Send up a flare for a man. No. 3 years ago, I was also single. 7 years ago, I went through a really devastating breakup. I was completely blindsided by the whole thing. Did not see it coming. And then I did kind of what she's doing now. I would try to date and I would get horribly frustrated and horribly disappointed, and I would stop dating. And then I would try to date again and it would just be the same story over and over and over again. So I wanted to kind of like impart my knowledge upon her and you to maybe, I don't know if it's going to help. If nothing else, you'll know that you're not alone. But these are the things that I figured out while I was trying to date. So my original plan was to like watch Cassie's video and kind of like put it over here and then comment on it. But her video is 23 minutes long and I'm going to try and keep this shorter than 23 minutes. So I did take notes on her video. I love my legal pads. Okay. So one of the things that she talks about is that there is a dating culture problem in this day and age. And I absolutely agree with that. There is a problem. There's a huge problem. I don't know when it started going downhill, but it definitely did. You're not exaggerating. You're not overreacting. There is a problem. And she talks about dating apps and how it seems like men, and she does preface this by saying this can be men and women. She's not singling out men, but her experience is with men. So of course, you know, that's what she talks about. So she says it seems like men are always looking for the newest, greatest, shiniest, or they'll give it a week and then they move on to something else. Or they'll talk about, you know, how if someone's flawed, and she gives a reference like, what if their second toe is longer than their big toe? Well, then that person's flawed and the man doesn't want anything to do with them anymore. And she goes into a little tangent about settling for people. So in my experience with dating apps, there's a couple, I mean, of course there's hundreds of personalities out there, but there's a couple of different kinds of people that use dating apps. So there's people like me and Cassie and some of other people that I know that are really, you know, we don't go to bars. I was never a member of a church. I don't really have any hobbies that take me outside the house. So I was on dating apps to meet people. And then there's people that are on dating apps to meet people, right? So I think the people that are meeting people over here, those people are the ones that are always looking for something better. They don't care if the conversation was great. They don't care if you have tons of stuff in common. They don't care if you've like established a rapport and you've been seeing each other for a month. They're interested in one thing. And in their minds, like, I can be out there getting that thing, you know what thing I'm talking about. I can be out there getting that thing, and if I fall in love in the process, bingo bango, awesome. Meanwhile, you have people like us that like, the thing is the thing. Sex, let's just say it's sex. Sex is secondary. Like, we want a relationship. We want somebody to build a future with. We want somebody that we can call when we're having a bad day. We want somebody who's gonna be there for us. We want somebody who's gonna say, you know, hey, I know that your favorite French fries are from this restaurant and I brought them to you because I thought you'd enjoy that. Like, this is what we're looking for. These two things very seldom in the big Venn diagram of dating, they very seldom meet in the middle. But I think what your problem, Cassie, is you want this and you keep finding these. The male parts of these are out there, but they're super hard to find because they're over here thinking, I'm not going to get on a dating app because it's all this. And this is what women are anticipating and this is what women are expecting, and I'm not like that. Therefore, why would I get on a dating app? That's my theory anyway. So then she goes on to talk about, if you Google on the internet how to attract the one, most of the articles are geared towards women. And once again, I mean, you're not wrong. You're absolutely right. The reason why is because it's traditionally, not all the time, but it's traditionally women that are looking for that monogamous relationship that's going to start a foundation for something bigger, you know, a long-term relationship, marriage, kids, a mortgage. That's why those articles are geared towards women. It's funny, if you ever talk to a man about trying to pick up people in a bar, me and my boyfriend have had this conversation. He's like, women have it so easy. All they have to do is walk up and strike up a conversation with any guy, and any guy will talk to them. And I'm like, time out there, bucko. That is not the case. But that's kind of how men think. Like, men think they have to do all the work. So there is a little bit of an inconsistency from perspectives there. So one thing, I hope I'm not rambling. I probably am. Oh well, it's been a day. Okay, so one of the other things that Cassie talks about in her video, and she mentions it several times, so I think this has happened to her a lot, and I think it's probably happened to her very recently, as many times as she mentioned it, is, you know, she'll go a few days without hearing, like, she'll think everything's great with some guy that she's gone on a date with, and it'll be a few days and she hasn't heard from him, and she'll send a text message and he will either respond with, you know, she's being too clingy, she's being obsessive, she's coming on too strong, or he just doesn't answer her. So the first part of that, she's being obsessive, she's being clingy, she's coming on too strong. First, that is bull shit, okay? There's a term called gaslighting. I don't know if you guys have heard about this. I was trying to look up a definition of it, but basically it's where one party of the relationship tries to, like, I wish I could find a definition. Basically, like, one party tries to make the other party feel a certain way. Like, I want to make you feel like you're going crazy. I want to make you feel like you're being jealous. I want to make you feel like you are being obsessive. Cassie says, why is it obsessive of me to want to talk to somebody when I haven't talked to them for a few days? Cassie, it's not. There is nothing wrong with that. If a guy is telling you that you are obsessive, or you are too clingy, or you are too involved, or you are too invested, when you have sent him one, hey, how's it going, text message after 2, 3, 4 days, he is not a good person. He is trying to make you think that you're coming on too strong when you and I both know that you're not. There is nothing wrong with that. Would you do that with somebody? Would you do that with a female friend? Absolutely. Would you do that with a coworker if they had been gone a few days? You know, if you were friends with that coworker? Yes, you would. There is not a dang thing wrong with sending somebody a text message says, hey, how's it going? It's not a problem. And if there is a guy out there that tries to make you think that you are being too obsessive, now, like you said, if you're texting 20 times a day, hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? Hey, how's it going? Haven't heard from you in a while. What are you doing? Do you not like me? Do you hate me? That's one thing. that is obsessive. That's a little cuckoo. Let's back it down. But if it is truly one text message where you're simply saying, hey, checking up on you, wanted to say hi, there is nothing wrong with that. And anybody who tells you otherwise is a problem. You do not want to be with that person. Trust me on this. Another thing that we talked about with the text messages is, and she does bring this up too, is ghosting. So ghosting is, of course, when you send a text message, they put you on read, and then they just don't answer you. So I know it sucks. I know this. But in this day and age, and I actually just watched a BuzzFeed video on this too, ghosting is an acceptable form of rejection. So not only do they get to avoid the confrontation, right? Because they don't ever have to tell you that they're no longer interested, they just don't answer you. It also leaves the door open for the future. So it's like, I never told you I wasn't interested, I was busy. So if somebody's really interested in you and somebody really wants to talk to you, they're gonna reply. I hate to quote that book that he's just not that into you, but that is absolutely true. Like if somebody wants to talk to you, they will make time to talk to you. So ghosting is a thing. Like, I know, honey, I know it's so terrible. And you just want them to tell you what's what. But you're not gonna change. You're not gonna change the world in that regard. So I think what you need to do, not that you asked my opinion, but you're getting it. I think that what you need to do with the ghosting situation is, one, you need to just understand that that is that person's way of telling you that they're no longer interested. And you need to set some rules for yourself. So I was also a person that got very frustrated with being ghosted. And the rule that I set for myself was, if they did not reply in 24 hours, I took them out of my phone. That way I wouldn't be tempted to sit there and continue to send messages or have their message staring at me knowing that they didn't answer me. And then the next time that they send me a text message, I also got the satisfaction of saying, who is this? And I had more than one conversation where it's like, this is so-and-so. Oh, I deleted you out of my phone. I assumed you weren't interested anymore. I mean, that was a little satisfying. I'm not gonna lie, but it was true. Like, I set that standard for myself. You have 24 hours to reply. You know, if you feel 24 hours is too short, give them 48. But I can tell you from my own experience, there is rarely a full day that I go that I can't return a text message. And at least say, hey, I'm super busy today, I'll get in touch with you tomorrow. Or, hey, it's finals week, I'll catch you next week, or something along those lines. So I really do think that that is a good rule to have, 24 hours, and then they're out of my phone. Or they were out of my phone. The other thing that I noticed that Cassie said in her video, this one kind of tugged at my heartstrings a little bit. When she was talking about the whole ghosting thing, she says, am I not worthy enough for a response from you? This has nothing to do with your worth. This has nothing to do with that at all. This is simply somebody who either doesn't want the confrontation or wants to leave the door open for later. And both of those things in my world are unacceptable. Like, ultimately, I want somebody who's going to be honest with me. But I think at the end of the day, do we really want them to be honest? Like, okay, when I was doing my whole dating thing, right? There was one guy, we went on a date, like, I just wasn't feeling it. Like, he was quite a bit older than me. My age range was 10 years plus or 10 years minus. So, but I went on a date because I was like, maybe there's something there. He messaged me afterwards and he's like, hey, I had a really good time, really like to see you again. And I messaged him back and I said, honestly, I just wasn't feeling it. You're a very nice guy, but not what I envisioned for myself. He was mad. Like, and I even told him, like, it is nothing against you. You're fine, but you're not what I'm looking for. and he got mad. So, you know, who's to say that it may not have anything to do with disrespect or not wanting a confrontation. It may have more to do with maybe they've done it before and it went poorly. Because let me tell you, after that, I ghosted a few guys. Guilty. Totally did that. Just because I got a little scared there for a little bit. Like, he called me names. He threatened me. So that is something to keep in mind. You also said that if someone's not interested, you would rather them just tell you they're not interested. And again, I would say, is that what you really want them to hear? By them not answering, they've kind of already told you they're not interested. So like, just move on. Like, is knowing why they're not interested gonna help you? And if you're like me, you're gonna be like, well, yes, because then I can know, like, did I do something wrong? Maybe I shouldn't repeat it next time. Maybe I can do better. Just be yourself, man. Like, even if you did do something wrong, it's you. Like, if they really liked you, they would be able to forgive that and look past it and move on and have a conversation. You know already. Like, if they're ghosting you, chalk it up to a good meal and a good conversation and move on. Oh, one section of her video, she talks about how men are just these giant man children and they just want to play their video games and eat pizza, and when they want to have sex, they call up a girl and they have sex, and that's good. And is that what you want? Like, is that the guy that you want? It's not the guy that you want. Like, let those guys have their video games and their pizza and their, you know, friends with benefits or whatever, but that's not what you want. She also talks a lot about reciprocating feelings, and she says, why is it when a girl says I love you, all of a sudden, you know, the guy's like not ready for that kind of commitment, not ready for that level of seriousness. If he's telling you that, he was just trying to get in your pants in the first place, which, I mean, I hate to be like so shallow and stereotypical, but that's generally true. If a guy is telling you, I love you, I think you're amazing, and this goes on for a couple weeks, and then you finally say, I think I love you too, and he bolts, he didn't love you. Okay, so I actually even wrote down some advice for you. Remember, with love. So there's a quote by Dita Von Teese. If you Google Dita Von Teese peaches, you'll find the quote. And it says, you can be the ripest, juiciest peach in the world, and there's still going to be somebody who hates peaches. Please write this down, post it by your front door. So when you leave on a date, read that quote, commit it to memory. Because you can go on a date with somebody, and if he hates peaches, he is not going to like you. And it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You are the most perfect Cassie you can be. I am the most perfect Jill that I can be. I might go out with somebody who doesn't like an extroverted personality. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with me. Just means I'm not his type. I might go out with somebody who doesn't like people to draw on their eyebrows. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with me. I'm certainly not going to change that, because look at these babies. But you see what I'm saying? Like, don't be so hard on yourself. You're the best you there is. And you're going to find someone who can appreciate all facets of you. Okay? So there's that. My other word of advice is to go on a lot of dates. So for me, when I was dating, it helped me to kind of like desensitize myself. So instead of going on like one date every 3 months and being like, oh, he could be the one, is this gonna be the man, is this gonna be the man that sweeps me off my feet and becomes the future Mrs. Jill, is this gonna be the one? Instead, I think on one day I went on like 3 dates in a day. I did a brunch, a lunch, and a brunch, a coffee date, and a supper. But it helped like knock down the level of importance I was putting on these dates. Like at that point in time, I was just out having fun. I was having conversations. I was getting to know people. I was enjoying it. I did not expect anything to come out of these dates. And my little mental trick for that, I didn't sleep with any of these men. Not a one. But my little mental trick to keep my mind in that ballpark was I would not shave my legs before the date. Because then I wasn't on a date. I was just having lunch with a potential friend. And that kind of helped take some of the gravity away from the situation. I was no longer looking for a mate. There was times, honestly, I was just going out for a meal and conversation. Free food. It's a thing. We already talked about setting rules for yourself. If you send a text message and they don't reply within 24 hours, just delete them out of your phone. Delete the chain of text messages so that way they're gone. They're not sitting there staring at you every time you open your text message app. Just take them out. And then if they get a hold of you later and they have a good reason, you can pick up where you left off. But again, I give it the same 24 hours. 24 hours, if you cannot find 30 seconds to respond to me in 24 hours, then I don't want you in my life. I don't want you in my life now. I don't want you in my life later. Take this rule. You talk about the games people play and how you're not a game player. But life's a game, man. Make your own rules. Like, you don't have to abide by some crazy rules. Oh, I can't text him for 3 days. And, oh, I texted him last and I have to wait for a reply. Make your own rules. And your rule could be 24 hours, no response. Boom. You're gone. Adios, sucker. Also, just keep telling yourself that ghosting is acceptable. It's a thing now. It's going to happen. Ghosting is acceptable, and you will not gain any important knowledge by knowing why they ghosted you. This is what I want you to tell yourself. I'm being ghosted. They must hate peaches. And move on. Okay? Because it is absolutely not you. Keep at it. Don't lose faith. Keep your self-esteem up. Everything's going to be fine. Okay? You will find someone someday. I promise. I found someone. And thank God I wasn't out there constantly making excuses for these men that were not living up to my standards. Because had I been doing that, I would not have seen what was right in front of my face. You can do this. You'll be fine. Do not lower your self-worth for any man, ever.